Good morning. It's not such a great morning for me, but it's not that bad. But good morning and welcome back to Mind Before Coffee, where this is a podcast that's not a podcast, where I babble. Can you tell? Can you tell the first cup of coffee hasn't even entered my bloodstream yet? Where I ramble on about all things holistic wellness, weird juju stuff, all that good stuff. It's really just like a big fat story time. Actually, let's be honest. It's raw, real, unedited. You're going to get my arms, you're going to get my indicator, and we usually have a guest with us, my son, in the back. He's actually been very good this morning. He's been a bit tearful, but we think we are expecting some teeth soon. So, yeah. For moms out there who know, you know. You know where I am right now. Good morning. Okay, right. So today we are on the road. We are on our way. I actually, for the first time in a very long time, have a cup of coffee with me, but like 2 sips. And not that I'm always doing this podcast without coffee in my system. The concept is just early morning rambles because that's literally when I have the time to do this. So I wanted to jump in. I had, to be quite honest, absolutely no idea what I was going to talk about this morning. Absolutely no idea. It was a rush this morning. It was a chaotic day yesterday and last night. I was not feeling myself last night. Yesterday, I just wasn't. I was feeling very off, very low. I even said to my husband, it wasn't really like physically or mentally. It was more like emotionally. I just wasn't feeling great, which is a bit odd for where I am in my cycle. So we'll probably do some tarot readings later and see what the hell's going on. Okay. And that meant a late night last night. I had a couple of glasses of wine whilst I did some admin, the stuff that I was avoiding. Okay, if you run your own business, there are always things that you're just like, do I really want to do this? So I had to get stuck in to doing some admin stuff last night, which actually ended up being a huge win because I did get some amazing stuff sorted. I finally have got pretty much the entire online business shifted over to the UK. We have a stand store available now, so it's a lot more easier for people to grab my free guides, my ebooks, and my courses. So that was a huge win. But that also meant that we woke up quite late this morning. And on top of that, I wasn't feeling great yesterday. So I ended up not doing the prep work that I usually do. So usually I make all our lunches. I get, all our bags packed and everything, typical. I wouldn't say type A mom. It kind of is type A mom, but I'm definitely a type C mom. And so didn't have anything prepped, which meant we woke up late this morning. Then we needed to get our little tushes in gear and not only get the bags packed, get the lunches packed, get the kid dressed, get ourselves washed and dressed, all out of the house within 20 minutes. It is possible, but incredibly challenging. So that left us very rushed, and it left me in a position where I was like, I have no idea what I want to talk about today. But I did decide on a topic as I was climbing in the car, because this is me we're talking about. I could talk forever and a day. So we are winning on that front. I wanted to jump in and chat a little bit about my parasite cleanse. Okay, so we're back. So parasite cleanse is what I want to talk about. Sorry, my microphone died. Another way of the universe explaining to me or showing me that you need to prepare the night before if you want to get anything done. Shame, I just had a rough day yesterday. So we are making things work with what we've got. Okay, that's what we're doing. So parasite cleanse. Why I did my parasite cleanse? What kind of protocol did I do? it's actually the protocol that I now put clients on, the ones who need it. Can I just reference that? So it's kind of a hot topic, I would say. It is gaining popularity and we are understanding it a bit more, but there definitely is, me personally, I would love to see, more research, more interest in it, and just like more acceptance of the ideology that we do have parasites, and that can cause problems. The general consensus when it comes to parasites in Western medicine is that you don't really get parasites, and if you do, it makes you really incredibly sick, which is completely true. That is true. Maybe not the fact that we don't get them. We do get them. So yes, parasites can make you incredibly ill. That is, we understand that to be true. However, if you drink water, if you eat meat, if you eat fruit, if you've got pets, you can get parasites. You don't need to travel to just get parasites. That is a misconception of getting parasites. You can get parasites. You can have them living in your gut. You can have them and not present with severe symptoms, and only mild symptoms. Some people don't even know they have them. And what a lot of the symptoms that you see from quote unquote parasites is, your, I want to say mainstream symptoms. Okay. So when you are, and I'm sure a lot of people will see when I say this, is that, a headache can be a symptom of so many different things. And stomach ache or anxiety or fatigue can be a symptom of so many things. You go to your doctor, you say, oh doctor, I've been really feeling fatigued lately. Okay, it literally could be at this point anything. Without a proper deep dive into your history, into other symptoms, into how you're feeling, etc., it could be anything, right? So parasites do, you do get symptoms from having parasites, or you can have symptoms from parasites, and they are the usual general stomach ache, fatigue, brain fog, anxiety. Depending on what type of parasite you have, that will lead to different symptoms that you might feel. Okay, I'm going to keep this very non-sciencey for those of you listening. If you've never heard of, or never really, delved deep into the ideology of having a parasite. So, depending on what type of parasite you have in your gut, could very much depend on what kind of symptoms you are going to experience, and if you experience those symptoms. Okay, like I said, some people don't experience symptoms, or you are experiencing symptoms that are linked to fatigue, which is actually, maybe it's an iron deficiency and a parasite, or it's an iron deficiency caused by a parasite. So it's a lot. So I decided to do a parasite cleanse, not because I was experiencing any certain symptoms or that I was feeling really bad. It came down to the base principle that I believe you should be cleansing, parasite cleansing, at least once a year. Many cultures around the world, this is a normal thing for them to do. It is not an estranged thing. And so, my brain goes, okay, so if one type of person does parasite cleansing twice a year, but another person is like, you can't get parasites. I'm like, what is actually going on? So obviously you do a little bit of research and you start figuring things out. But the general consensus of why I decided to jump into it was I wanted to do a cleanse first and foremost. I postpartum have not been treating my body well, so I've not been feeling great, and a lot of my symptoms have peaked up. So on top of doing other protocols and other cleanses and other healing modalities, I wanted to include a parasite cleanse into my protocol this time, which would be different from the last time I healed myself. Okay, so I decided, no, we're going to jump in on this. The second big reason why I wanted to jump into doing the parasite cleanse was because I was formulating something that I wanted to see how it worked on my body and what my clients could expect. Okay, so I was sussing out the system. So since the first cleanse, I've actually adapted it a couple of times. So there's been a few re-editions since my first cleanse. This was basically to perfect it and find something that worked well, or really, really well is actually what I was looking for. Something that worked really well. There was a few specifications that I wanted in the cleanse, some non-negotiables. Oh, hello. And on top of that as well, like, ultimately I just ended up wanting to be able to create my own products. Wow, sir, good morning to you. Are you saying hi to the one person that listens to my podcast right now? Guys, it's a real thing. Okay, so yeah, I just want to be able to create my own products for the cleanse, but I've managed to formulate a system that works incredibly powerful here in South Africa, and I hope to be able to do so overseas. Hopefully I'll just be able to make the product from the get-go, because like I said, I've got a lot of non-negotiables, a lot of stipulations, a lot of things that need to be a certain way for this to be safe and effective at the same time. Like, I don't want it can't be a waste of time, it can't be a waste of money, it needs to be powerful. Parasites are incredibly hardy, and they can be incredibly challenging to actually release, and there's a multifaceted level on releasing parasites. It's not just about using a black walnut oil or clove oil or tincture in your parasite cleanse. There's a whole other, you have to starve them, you have to support your body, you have to give your body everything it absolutely needs to be able to release. One, it needs to feel safe to release. Your body needs to be supported. You need to starve the parasites off, kill them, so take something that is powerful at killing them, and then you also have to release them from an emotional perspective as well. So parasites can live in different parts of the body, and I fully believe that if you work with processing trauma and dealing with the different parts of the organs, so trauma can be stored in the body, and if you are supporting your body to deal with that trauma to be able to release, it assists and aids in the parasite release as well. I think there's probably a bit of hot debate around the concept of parasites feeding off of fear, anger, anxiety. I think that if you're holding on to those emotions, I do think that parasites could feed off of that, and of that negative energy that you're storing, that negative trauma you're storing in your body. I do think that is possible. And from what I've seen from other practices who practice these intense parasite cleanses, is that we do tend to see people have better releases when they allow themselves to push through and process through the trauma. So I think that it's a really interesting concept that I would love to explore more. I do think that it is a great possibility that is part of that, it works like that. So yes, okay, there was a few topics that we went over there, a few little side quests as well. Okay, so in a nutshell, why did I want to do the parasite cleanse? I wanted to start regularly parasite cleansing, and I also wanted to create something that was effective and powerful. So the normal standard parasite cleanse kits that I found here in South Africa were just not up to par. It was Like, it was pointless. It did not make sense. They were just commercially made products, or products that was intentionally made for a parasite cleanse, but with no real thought behind how it was going to affect the body and how it was going to work. So I went out on a whim and created a very intense, very complex, not complex, but there is a lot of supplements, there's a lot of things that goes into this to make this as effective as possible. And for you to actually release something, you know, whether it is mucoid plaque that you release, or you end up releasing parasites, that's, you know, phenomenal. I've done it now, my cleanse, and I've had clients do my cleanse, and none of them have left without releasing parasites. Okay, some have released quite a lot, some have released some, but there have been releases. Okay, I do have the photos to prove it, because I was definitely not going to do a parasite cleanse and not take photos. I was like, I need proof that this came out of me. I cannot wait to the day where I can have a release and actually have the specimens tested to be able to distinguish what type of parasite it is. I'm hoping that that is possible. I'm sure it is. Any of my sciencey friends out there who one day listen to this, I guess, hopefully by then, if you listen to it like months down the line, hopefully that I've managed to figure this out. But any sciencey peeps out there listening, if you know that this is possible and how it happens, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to be able to, I will test every single thing that comes out of my butthole to prove that this is something that is worth doing and possible to do, and that you can have parasites and not be considerably ill and just be slowly ill. There is some talk about how certain parasites can lead to anxiety and depression and actually control your thoughts. So there was an article that I read about that a while ago. I'm gonna see if I can go find it and rehash on that, but it was a very interesting topic. Okay, so on to what was included in my parasite cleanse and why I included it. So I'm going to be talking on the first re-edition of my parasite cleanse, and then I think I'm going to talk on my second re-edition on another podcast. I think that's going to be the easiest for my brain. So the first re-edition of my parasite cleanse is a 10-day parasite cleanse, which to be fair was quite challenging, but it was definitely worth it. So it was a 10-day parasite cleanse, and where I specified that like I was only going to eat fruit for those 10 days, which sounds drastic, and yes, it is incredibly drastic if you do not support your body correctly. Nobody should ever go on a juice fast or a fruit fast, whatever the case may be, without proper support of the body. If you're not giving the body exactly what it needs to thrive, you're gonna have a miserable time. Okay, so I did deep dives into this. I wanted to do the all fruit diet because, number one, fruit is a phenomenal detoxifier. Okay, it really does help with the cells be healthy and just promote stability, promote detoxification, and it's also filled with vitamins and minerals, which you want to be able to overload your body with so much vitamins and minerals that it's got so much to work with. Okay, your body is going to use what it needs and it will get rid of what it doesn't, especially when you are taking it in a natural form. Okay, so fruit was the way I wanted to go about it. I was not concerned about the fructose content. I was not concerned about anything like that. For those people who are absolutely petrified of fruit because it's got fructose in it, it's going to spike, blah, blah, blah. Don't fearmonger whole foods, okay? Don't fear whole foods. Fearmonger whole foods. It gripes me when people are like, oh, you can't eat pineapple because it's got too much fructose in it. Oh, you can't eat a carrot because it's been modified over so many years. Bullshit. Stop fearmongering on the whole foods. The whole foods is good for you, okay? Obviously, if you eat it in excess, if you were on a permanent fruit diet, which I do see some people do, If you're permanently on a fruit diet, that can cause havoc in your body. Anything that is too much of anything is a bad thing, okay? But fear mongering on whole foods, healthy stuff, things that are good for you, fear monger on the damn McDonald's, people, okay? Gosh, I don't hear enough of that. Everyone's like, oh, the carrot is that crazy woman who was talking about, I'm pretty sure it was carrots. I don't know. I was just so mad. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm like, we fear mongering on vegetables, but nobody's saying anything about what's in McDonald's. Don't get me wrong, McDonald's tastes great, okay? McDonald's hits the spot when you need it, but damn, like, you need to be aware of what's in that shit. Like, that's just garbage. So yes, was I concerned about doing an all-fruit diet? I did have concerns. However, I targeted those concerns so that they were not concerns for me anymore. Second off, what I included was, obviously we needed to kill the parasites. So I found a tincture. I wanted two things, or there was a few specific things I wanted in the tincture. Okay. Now what I saw on the market was that there were a lot of tinctures out there that just had a few ingredients, which by all means is fine. But I definitely wanted black walnut. I also wanted wormwood, and I also wanted clove in there. Those were kind of like my non-negotiables. Anything over and above that was like a bonus for me. So I did manage to find a phenomenal tincture. I would say here in South Africa far surpassed anything on the market. So it was, for me, it was the best that I could find, and like the next best thing was like half of what I was happy with in on the, like, that was on the shelves on the market. So that was what I was going to use to obviously kill the parasites. Okay. Then I wanted to make sure that the body was supported. Okay. So I needed to make sure that the body had everything it needed to feel safe, feel comfortable, and be able to release, right? Open up pathways, like release pathways, all that good stuff. So I got two things that was going to cover all of that. So one, I formulated a amino acid blend that has every single amino acid in it at a really good dosage. So I knew that I was going to get all my amino acids in for the 10 days. I wasn't going to have to stress. I was going to have to worry regarding that. Then I also formulated, luckily there's amazing company here in South Africa where you can actually formulate your own drinks and shakes. So then I formulated a shake which tasted great. I was very impressed with this company. Tasted great. Formulated it so that it had every single vitamin and mineral that I would need for those 10 days. So again, it was another, kind of 100% of your daily recommended amount of every single vitamin and mineral. It was made with grass-fed, grass-finished protein. So there was protein in there as well, on top of like the additional aminos that we were going to be getting. And then what else did I put in there? I'm trying to remember. I haven't since changed the formulation. I think I might have. I did. Yes, I did put an additional boost of vitamin B's, a B complex in, and a vitamin C, and I think I also put MCT oil in as well. I don't think I put anything else in, because then it was really starting to rack up in price. So the shake was so incredibly dense. The normal size, like a normal protein jar size, that's the size I got for 10 days. So basically, the amount of content that I put into that shake was 3 times more than what you would find in a normal shake. okay? And that was without any fillers. So bear in mind, most protein shakes have fillers in them. Okay, so it was incredibly dense. Like I said, I wanted to make sure that my body was supported, that it had all the nutrients, all the minerals, all the vitamins, everything that it required to sustain itself, which, to be quite honest, is probably more than most people get in their normal day-to-day diet. Then I wanted to support eliminatory pathways, so I got a liver and kidney tea, which is now moved to a tablet because I was just not a fan of the flavor of the tea. So it is a tea that had like milk thistle in it, dandelion, a few other things. I would take that twice a day. That would just help support the liver and the kidneys. They were going to be working incredibly hard over the next 10 days because not only does this cleanse, kill off parasites and release parasites, but it also assists with it's like a very gentle chelation, very gentle release of heavy metals and toxins as well. This is the primary focus, but it does happen just from the sheer way of what we're doing. So I wanted to support the liver and the kidney, so I did do that with the tea. Like I said, it's now a tablet, which is a lot more effective, or what I feel that there's a lot more beneficial ingredients now. And then I needed to bind whatever was in the gut and scrub it clean, basically, as well on top of that. So what did I do for that? I did a powder mix that included charcoal, activated charcoal, mycelium husk, and mycelium husk, activated charcoal, and bentonite clay. Those were the three that I included in to the mix. I did it was about 2 parts activated charcoal, 2 parts bentonite clay. Those were equivalent to each other, and then 1 part mycelium husk, which I would still kind of drop a little bit, mainly because if any one of you know what mycelium husk does, okay, it basically gels up when it hits moisture. It is often used as an egg replacement. I love using it as an egg replacement, especially when eggs are getting too expensive. I'm like, oh, we'll just, do half the eggs and the other half with mycelium husk, so it gels up, which means it is you gel it out, like you mix it in with the apple juice or grape juice, which is what I recommend to have because of what's in it, the nutrients and benefits and everything. So like a cloudy apple juice, you mix it up and it starts gelling, and to drink that, for me, I was okay with it. I could manage. It did catch me a couple of times, but for some people it literally activates the gag reflex. So it's not a great texture to go down. But I digress. It is what it is, and I have not changed that. It's still a powder form, because you can't take that amount of mycelium husk in tablet form and then it's not quite, no, it's just, I stick to it. So the mycelium husk is kind of what puts hydration into the gut. It also binds things, jellifies, you could say, in the gut. The activated charcoal is, and the bentonite clay is a binder. So that's what binds toxins, any heavy metals, any funny things, that binds in the gut. Activated charcoal can be a bit aggressive, and that's why I supplemented with half bentonite clay. Bentonite clay is phenomenal. There is some amazing research on bentonite clay, especially in regards to helping people with celiac disease. There are some notions that it could lead to recovery of celiac disease. which is a very incredibly fast stretch because that has been a challenge for a lot of people, and just for doctors who do that in general. So bentonite clay, phenomenal. So I do half and then add the mycelium husk, and that binds everything in the gut and helps pull it out. Okay, because you can have like it stuck to the wall of your gut and nothing will get it out. You have to take things like this to help kind of pull those things out. Okay, so we have something to kill the parasites with, which is important. You do need to kill them. We've got something to kill the parasites with. We've got something to scrub the guts, to bind it all, to help with the release. We have got something to support the liver and kidneys with how much work they're going to be doing. And then we've got a few things to support the body through this whole process, to have everything it needs to be able to, push through. There are a couple of additional things that I add into the box, like a quartz crystal, a Palo Santo, a dry brush as well, because I encourage dry brushing. So anything that's going to help the lymph system, to support the lymph system, is phenomenal. I also included daily meditations, which was focused around the chakras linked to different organs in the body. And we started with the root chakra, and over 10 days we moved through from the root chakra all the way up to the crown chakra. So whatever was related to which chakra was done. So there's a couple of chakras we spend a couple of days on because they link to a couple of things. And you kind of like, the meditation is guided from that premise, and it just helps you come to terms. It's a very emotional journey when you are working with something like this. And when I did it, I had days where I was incredibly emotional. Like I felt like my whole entire world was crumbling beneath me, like this sort of emotion was coming out. So the meditations were intentionally created around the chakras to kind of go up in sequence, but it would targeted the different organs or different areas in the body to assist with any stored trauma in those areas, for you to focus on that area specifically. Okay. And then journal prompts for you also to be hyper aware of, okay, so today we were working on liver, which was for this chakra. I was incredibly emotional, and there are journal prompts to then go, okay, cool. So why was I so emotional? What was the trigger? What was I thinking about? And just to help you kind of move through that process of pinpointing or targeting an area in your life that could have been traumatic and that was possibly stored in that area of your body. Okay, so definitely something that I am working on fine-tuning and just adapting. It's a good start for now, and it definitely helped me a lot with processing some of the trauma and past trauma and stored emotions. I'm not a very good person at dealing with my emotions. It's so much easier just to push it under the rug, and this kind of cleanse forced me to have to deal with a few things, and which was beautiful. It also gave me the space to be very clear-headed and understand the emotion behind it. So now we've got all the items to support this whole cleanse. Is, like I said, it's quite the cleanse. Oh, I also added in a probiotic. I thought I was forgetting something. A probiotic to help replenish the gut, help support the gut. Not that I believe a probiotic fixes everything, but it definitely is a great tool to help support your body. And in this space where it was just fruit and there was no fermented things in there, I was like, I don't want to be eating fermented foods during the parasite cleanse, so I'm going to need to get my support from elsewhere. So the probiotic was what I went for. Not my favorite probiotic, but it was decent enough, and it helped, the guts and whatnot. So there are obviously different probiotics out there, which I think have different, benefits, different. It's such a weird space, actually, probiotics, but I think we'll just get into that on another day. So got the whole kit, got it all set up. I think that's everything. I might remember something else that I added in and then be like, oh, by the way. So I had the whole system, whole thing set up, and we then proceeded to embark on this 10-day cleanse. So as I said before, there were some incredibly emotional times. I did also want to completely stop it. Midway through, I was feeling, by about day 5, day 6, I was feeling incredibly I didn't want to say exhausted. I didn't want to say, I felt drained from the sense of, at that point, I had a couple of emotional meltdowns. So I was emotionally drained. And I was just like, I don't think I can keep going on with this. And bless my husband. He's like, you've put so much effort into this. You've put so much money into this. You need to finish it. You need to see it through, which was phenomenal because I did end up seeing it through. And it was phenomenal. And I learned so many lessons and worked through so much stuff over those 10 days. And it's different for everyone, but there was a lot that happened over those 10 days and it was absolutely incredible. There was also some amazing benefits, like the clear-headedness. My mood picked up. I wasn't so grouchy and grumpy, and I started realizing that I wasn't supporting my body like I needed to. And that is why it led to a lot of this kind of just grumpy kind of vibes. I was always edgy. And of course, if your body isn't getting what it needs, of course you're going to be edgy. Of course you're going to be grumpy if you're not eating properly and you're not getting enough nutrients and, you're not supporting properly, of course. And on top of that, I wasn't experiencing the brain fog or the fatigue or the nausea or the anxiety. Anxiety disappeared completely. Bearing in mind, guys, I also did this during my luteal phase, which I do regret doing. I don't think it would have necessarily changed my results much. I just think that it wasn't the best idea to put my body. There's clearly a cortisol spike that happens throughout this parasite cleanse, and you don't want to be spiking cortisol during your luteal phase. You can do that in your follicular and your ovulation. So next time I do this, definitely doing it in my follicular phase. Definitely, hands down. I think I would be also more impartial or more clearer on my opinion and dealing and going through this cleanse in my follicular than I would in my luteal. That being said, though, I released a considerable amount. So the one thing that I suggest is, well, it's a non-negotiable, but there are options around it. So the non-negotiable is you need to get hydrotherapy done. You cannot do this cleanse and not do hydrotherapy. You need to help your body pull the gunk out. Okay, so hydrotherapy can be one of two ways. You can either do colonics at home with the enema kit, and you can do that once to twice per day, however your body feels, most comfortable. If you feel comfortable issuing them yourselves. To give you an idea, at-home colonic is going to put about 2 liters of water into your colon, and it will just help irrigate and help loosen and pull out anything. So the water will go up, irrigate, you will sit on the toilet, and then, the water will come out, and along with that water, the parasites, the heavy metals, the mucoid plaque, whatever the case may be, will come out. Okay. Now, I did colonics up until day 7. Day 8, I went for not a colonic, guys, I'm sorry, for enemas. I did enemas up until day 7. Enemas are the 2-liter ones that you do at home. Colonics are the one that you go to a professional to do them for you. A colonic, you're looking at upward like 10 to 20 liters of water. And the lady that I go to, absolutely phenomenal. I will sing her praises. For anyone who lives in Pretoria, I will sing her praises. She also does a coffee enema at the end, which helps further with detoxification. And she also issues a probiotic as well, okay, from both ends. So it goes in the colonic, the probiotic, and you also drink a probiotic. So phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Really, really love her. I did one of them. I wasn't planning on doing a colonic, but after going through 7 days of enemas and just feeling like there's so much more that needs to come out, and I'm just not, there's something in there in my gut, and I was like, I'm not getting it out with the damn enema. So I was like, I'm going to do the colonic. Okay. So if you don't want to do at home enema kits, I usually recommend that you do at least 3 colonics over the course of a 10-day period. Okay. You can talk to your colonic specialist for your practitioner about this. It is under the advisement. My colonic lady that I go to, she feels happy and comfortable doing 3 over the course of 10 days. That's what she's happy with. Other practitioners might feel differently about that. They might only want to do 2. They might be happy doing 4 or 5. To be quite honest, I don't think it's necessary. There are what are they called? Practices that will do a colonic every day. So you'll have 10 colonics. You'll do a colonic every day. So again, it's really up to your practitioner and up to you how you feel. But on the safe side, I'm like 3 over the course of 10 days, you're going to be good. You can supplement with enemas at home if you feel comfortable. So at this point, I was releasing things with the enema. I was releasing ropeworm. I did release tapeworms. And I did release some liver flukes. It was like 1 or 2. It really wasn't much. And they were quite tiny. So liver flukes they look like tomato skins when they come out. It's also one of the big reasons why I'm like, you do not eat a single tomato when you are on this cleanse. You can have a vegetable soup, by the way. There is a vegetable soup that you can have. It's blended up. You want it to be absolutely liquid so that when things come out of your back end, you can see what it is. Fruit is more easily digested than vegetables, so you can almost not see any fruit come out the end. So that's what I was getting at. Okay, so I was getting out some mucoid plaque. So mucoid plaque is kind of like the stuff that sticks to the walls of your colon. And oftentimes you can have parasites wound into that. I would say, if I remember correctly, there was also pinworms, but I wasn't 100% sure. I was fishing things out of my toilet bowl and kind of picking things apart to try and see what I could see, which was incredibly challenging, as you can imagine. So I was releasing a good amount of stuff through the enemas. Day 8, I go for my colonic. Guys, at this point, I'm 8 days into eating fruit alone. Okay. Now, fruit, your body is taking up using a lot of fruit because it can use a lot from fruit. You're not passing much at this point. Day 8 wasn't really passing much of anything. And I had decided, no, I'm going to go for this colonic. I go for this colonic. I'm explaining to my practitioner what I'm doing. She's incredibly impressed. The first, I would say, third of the colonic, okay, nothing really was coming out. Okay. And at this point, I'm still getting comfortable with the amount of water coming in and out. So I can feel that we're slowly but surely getting deeper and deeper into the colon. But like, you don't start the colonic, or at least in my experience, I didn't start the colonic and have my colon full with water completely. It kind of went, filled it up a little bit, and then released the water. And then we put more water in, and I could go further and further and further. Okay. So the first third of the colonic, not much was being released. Okay, we saw a little bit of like watermelon remnants, but really not much. Okay, then we kind of, it was almost like we hit a wall, and we, kept going, kept going, kept going. And next thing, we started seeing the mucoid plaque coming out. There were some more parasites that were coming out. And we were seeing like quite a bit come out. Okay. Now, this is as we've gone further and further up in the colon, which is why I like to recommend colonics, because enemas don't get as deep. And that is clearly what was happening. I wasn't getting as deep, and I was feeling this, and I was like, I've got more to release. I need to get something in deeper. Okay. So my next parasite cleanse, I'm just going for the 3 colonics, to be quite honest. Okay. Straight up just going for the 3 colonics. Okay. And we cleaning through, and we seeing the things come out. Both of our eyes are massive. We're keeping an eye on this pipe and watching what is coming out. And at this point, I was 8 days, 7 days into eating fruit alone. I was cleansing. Like, it was clear that I was cleansing. It was clear that the things that I was doing was working. And we still released more parasites, more mucoid plaque, and all that good stuff. And then we had a liver release. My liver was feeling comfortable enough, and we had a bit of a liver release. So what happens is you see like a yellowy, greeny color in the tube, which is usually an indication that the liver released some toxins. Liver was really happy with that. And then afterwards, after the colonic, I went to the toilet. And I also released several gallstones as well. So my liver was clearly very happy to release some extra goodies for us. So I had a massive, massive release. Now, to give you perspective, from before and after the colonic, I weighed myself, okay, before and after the colonic. Because now I want to know how much additional waste did I let go of, even being on 7 days of a fruit diet where you don't have much, there's nothing really fermenting in your gut when you're on a only fruit diet, okay? Not much is getting stuck back behind there, okay? We're doing all the scrubbing, we're releasing. At this point, I'd released every single day for 7 days. I went for the colonic. I weighed myself before, weighed myself after. Guys, when I say I released an additional 4 kilograms of waste from my colon after 7 days of eating incredibly clean, okay, not giving my gut much of an excuse to do anything but release, I still released an additional 4 kilograms of waste. Insane. Also, on top of that, I'd recently started my period. Went for the colonic. All of a sudden, my back pain was gone. Disappeared. Gone. In the wind. Okay. Which then led me to really diving deep into the possibility that a backed up gut can aggravate period symptoms like back pain. Because if you've got 4 kilograms of waste stuck in your colon, there's not much space there down there, guys. Everything's packed next to each other, right? I honestly don't understand how we still put a baby in there. I mean, our whole anatomy literally shifts, but anyway. So I released quite a bit. I continued with the enemas after the colonic. I didn't release much more after the colonic. I think my body at that point was like, I'm quite done now. I'm I'd pushed my body to its limits, and it had released what it wanted to release. I didn't feel intuitively, I didn't feel like I needed to release much more. I knew that there was more to release, definitely, but I knew that this was what was going to be released now. This was what my body felt safe, comfortable, and happy to release emotionally, physically, and mentally right now. So, yeah, beautiful, beautiful release. I've had other clients have very similar experiences, also release a significant amount of parasites and waste and whatnot, and feel great for it. Feel absolutely phenomenal. I think that was probably my biggest uh, thing that I absolutely loved, was that my mood changed. I was more optimistic. I was more excited. I was more energetic. I wanted to do things. I had motivation. And, I'm now looking, when did I do that cleanse? October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. We're looking 9-10 months after. So I'm coming up to almost a year now, which is, I'm due for another cleanse. I actually wanted to do one earlier in the year, and I never managed to get around to doing it. And something that's significantly changed is definitely the mood, and I definitely see it, right? Mood is a big factor for me through my hormone healing journey, and the parasite cleanses definitely contribute to helping that, right? Cleaning your gut out is important, even if you don't care about parasites, but you respect and understand the power of the gut. You want to look after your gut. You want your gut to be cared for, and you understand the fact you understand that the gut plays a huge role in your health and wellness, like hormone regulation, like your immune system. It is considered the second brain. So even if you don't give two shits about parasites, but you respect your gut and you want to keep your gut healthy, a cleanse like this you could benefit from, or even a gentler cleanse of this, which you don't have to go all, batshit crazy and drink all the tinctures and stuff to kill what you don't think you have. Because some people don't think they have parasites, and that's totally cool. I would argue that, but I'm also not going to bother arguing that. So at the end of the day, I had a phenomenal experience, and something that I'm definitely including in every single year, at least once, if not twice. I am embarking on a brand new healing journey. A lot of my old symptoms have returned. So I have PCOS. I had thyroid issues. I have no idea if my thyroid is acting up again. So we'd have to check that out. But I've managed to get my thyroid back into a healthy state. I minimized my PCOS symptoms considerably. Didn't have an issue falling pregnant. I was incredibly healthy. And now I'm doing that healing journey again with additional things that I have learned since then, it's almost 3 years since I started that healing journey. So we're on a new healing journey. Parasite cleansings are definitely going to be in on that healing journey, because I do think it is an incredibly powerful tool and can help in the grand scheme of things. I've never believed that one thing is going to be the cure at all. I also don't think that one thing is the root cause of everything. Our body is interconnected. Everything's communicating with each other. Everything's working together. And if you're not targeting the body as a whole, you're doing yourself a disservice. Treat many things. Look at your gut. Look at your reproductive system. Look at your mental state. Guys, go do the therapy. And doing the therapy doesn't necessarily need to look like going to see a psychologist. Doing the therapy can look like anything that you feel most comfortable with. It can be going for hikes. It can be journaling. It can be talking to your best friend or your sister or your brother, whatever the case may be. I don't know what it's like to have a brother, so I don't know if a bro would sit and listen to your problems or just give solutions. I'm thinking that a bro would still act like a man. I don't know. Those of you with brothers, let me know what it's like. So yeah, that was pretty much my experience. That was pretty much my experience with parasite cleansing. Or with my parasite cleanse. I have since edited it, which, I mean, we're already almost an hour into this, and I've still got so much to say on this topic. So I definitely will do this on another video, another podcast that's not a podcast. And I have edited it. I have amended it. I will see if I will do my edited version before I leave South Africa. We'll see. Otherwise, I will need to create one overseas and see what I can put together with the resources from another country. So we'll see if that is possible. And then the natural progression would just be to formulate my own product, which would be an absolute dream of mine. And I think we'll get to at some point. So yeah. Anyway, before we keep blabbering on and actually push this to an hour, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, who's going to listen to me for an hour? But who knows? Maybe you do. Talking to whoever's on the other side of this. So if you have made it this far, thank you so much. I super appreciate you guys. And I hope you took something from it. If you've got any questions, drop them down in the comments below. I do check them every now and again just to get, not that I get any comments at the moment, but, you know, like the intention is to answer your questions one day when, you know, you hear commenting on it. So there we go. Anyway, I better go. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.